Welcome back to Showcase Pittsburgh on KDKA TV. I'm John Klein. Today, 8 businesses. Mark Miller from Treasure Hunt will tell us how much all that gold is worth in our drawers. Dr. Nathan Lockery is here from Aspen Dental. Mike Madden from USA Insulation. We'll also have somebody from Life Pittsburgh, Cookie Harris from New Image Hair Clinic, Christina Gill-Roseman from Pennsylvania Lemon Law. But right now, Larry Bruno's here from Bruno's Fine Jewelers. Welcome to Showcase Pittsburgh, Larry.
Thank you, John.
You have some great things out here. Before we start seeing some of the things you brought in, tell us a little background on you and what you've done over the years.
Started off as a goldsmith, went to school in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. That went on to be a jeweler's jeweler, which is just doing their jewelry work, stone setting, fabricating, whatever they wanted to do, which led to my jewelry store. And been in Mercer County for 30 years and decided to build a destination store.
So you were one of the guys where all the other stores would come to you and have you make the jewelry that they would sell.
Correct.
And then all of a sudden you got the ideas like, why don't I do this myself?
Well, you know, I like working with people, and it's sort of like it just sort of worked. I enjoy working with what someone wants. If they want something different, that's just fun stuff.
And when we say something different, you have probably the most different thing of any, not only jewelry stores here in the greater Pittsburgh area, but in the whole country.
Yes, exactly. We, you know, it just happens. The property that I bought just has a beautiful waterfall, and then here we found out that there was an iron furnace that dates back to 1837.
So I was on your website, and you have a newer building, and this was when you were building the building, and you're close to Grove City Outlets.
Yes.
Up in Mercer.
Yes.
They're excavating, and all of a sudden you discovered this was a pretty cool site 100 years ago.
Well, we knew that there was a furnace there, but we didn't know how much we had. And here, right after I purchased the property, Dr. White from Youngstown State University came to me and he says, "I'd like to do an archaeological dig." And I said, "Oh, you're kidding." And I asked a few friends before I just absolutely said yes. And some of my friends surprisingly said, "You know, I'm not so sure that's a great idea. You spend a lot of money for a piece of property, and what happens if they find something right where you want to put a building?"
Right.
But
sure enough, they started finding things. They started pulling things out.
They did. I gave Mr. White approval to come on in, and I've been a member of their team every day. It's been going on for 5 years, and it's continuing.
On your website, you have the story about some of the old building and some of the old tools that were there from the mill from, what, 1870?
Well, the furnace was in operation from 1837 to 1862, right during the Civil War. So it's got, you know, one of the wonderful parts about our furnace, it's one of the early ones. And we had a water wheel. And not only did we have a water wheel, but we found that we had a 38-foot water wheel.
And which was one of the biggest in the country at the time.
Absolutely.
Now I want to shift forward because as you're looking through all of these relics, which was a pretty cool piece of history, you discovered something else and you did something that you have here today that nobody else has ever done before.
Well, during the archaeological dig, the archaeologists found slag, which is a byproduct of making iron. And all of it didn't look all that great, and all of a sudden they start picking up some pieces that are this blue-green glassy structure. And I looked at it and I'm there, well, that's quite pretty. And I decided to see, well, can we have it polished? Will it make a gemstone? And yeah, it has. So
you're taking slag from the old iron furnace from 150 years ago,
yes,
and you're turning it into jewelry.
Turning it into jewelry.
And it's beautiful.
It is absolutely beautiful, and it's been a success because people love it. It was mined here in Western Pennsylvania, in fact, just a few miles from our store, and then, you know, the process is just melting it down, and you've got that byproduct.
And you are the only person who's doing this?
To my knowledge.
To your knowledge.
Well, you know, and I've had 2 magazine articles do articles on
right.
me because of that, so I guess I probably am.
Now, I would assume in Western Pennsylvania here that 99.9% of us have somebody in our past who was affiliated with some sort of a mill. And this would be such a cool present for somebody that would represent a part of their family history.
Well, and when I seen it, and even with the archaeological dig, it was, hey, all my family members worked in the mills, and all up and down Western Pennsylvania and Pittsburgh, the Steel City.
Right.
And it's like, here we have a chance to learn what we can find out about these early furnaces, which is very little written about. and which is why Professor White said, you know, this is exactly why you do an archaeological dig, to find out what isn't written.
So do you polish these just as you would any other gemstone, or is there something different when you're polishing slag, which was the waste from the iron mills?
No, it's regular. You know, it comes out as a stone, like, and then you know, a cutter takes that, and then he does either different things. We have some that are just regular cabochons, but then I send some to the most famous gem carver in America, and his name's Glenn Lair, and he carved one of my special pieces.
Check it out online or into the store, and this is something that I'm guessing everybody can relate to in some way, and they're probably thinking, I remember when those slag piles were burning years ago, and who would have thought it could be turned into something this beautiful?
Yeah, and it's what people love about it. It is like buying a piece of history. We can date it. This slag was made before the Civil War, and which I've named the Ironmaster's gem. And even the reason for that is that the Ironmasters, they sort of were like a chef, and as they were looking at the ingredients, they had to make sure that if the slag was good, then the iron was going to come out perfect.
It's a great story. Thank you, Larry. If you'd like to know more about Bruno's Fine Jewelers, give Larry a call or log on to the website, brunojewelry.com. The entire story is there, and you'll learn something too. If you'd like to advertise here on our show, call us, Showcase Pittsburgh, 412-575-2400, or shoot us an email at showcase@kdka.com. Coming up next, we'll have somebody here from Life Pittsburgh. That's next when Showcase Pittsburgh continues right here on KDKA TV.